So this video is about enjoying simple things, simplicity, and enjoying simplicity with greater depth. And this can apply to whatever situation you are living in this present moment, whether your life is pretty full or busy, or we are stuck at home and we are dealing with having our children. Whatever situation, simplicity can be applied and can be explored for your benefit. So this has three sections. The first one is about slowing down, and we'll explain that in more depth. The second one is about simplicity as a healing element. So by having a few moments of simplicity and experiencing things with a little bit more depth, how that can really give you a lot of a sense of peace and being a sensation of being very centered and connected to yourself. And the third one is how to sustain that, how to sustain a level of concentration where this is not a one-off experience, but in fact is something that you can bring into your daily life, whatever that may be, whatever that situation, and you can feel that thread of that experience going a little bit throughout the day. Why slowing down? In fact, when you look at something, it takes some time to register. So if I'm listening to something or looking at something, if I just look at it and then disappear and then I move on, what I'm looking at doesn't really reach my experience. It doesn't have enough time to reach your senses, and it doesn't have enough time to begin to register in your body. So in a sense, it's a great loss, because a lot of the activity that I'm doing, I'm rushing from one activity to another. I don't really experience it fully. I only experience it from here upwards. I don't really experience it from here downwards. So in that sense, it always feels there's a lack of satisfaction, because I'm doing a lot of activity, I'm doing a lot of things and rushing through these things, but actually really not experiencing them. I'm not really feeling them in my body. So the proposition about slowing down is to give yourself a little bit more time so you can actually really begin to feel something. How does it feel to brush your teeth, for instance? How does it feel to drink your tea or your cup of coffee or eat your breakfast? How does it feel to listen? How does it feel to taste? How does it feel to look out of the window and actually spend a few moments with what you're seeing and letting that experience actually really come into your body, instead of just going from one frame to the next frame to the next frame, and it's just a collection of frames, but never really anything really doesn't really percolate, there's no depth to it. So you can stop, you can pause, you can take a deeper in-breath, and this gives you an opportunity to cut that flow of rushing, of habits or habitual tendencies, what we would call habitual tendencies. They keep us jumping from one activity to the other without any pausing, without any experience of how they actually really feel. So in this case, we use the breath as an anchor. So every now and again, I try to pause, I try to stop and use my breath as an anchor, and it takes a minute. It doesn't even take a minute, in fact. So you can explore that. Why don't you try to explore, if every now and again, before you engage with something, just take one step back, just take a nice deep breath, just reconnect with yourself, just ground your awareness, bring your attention to your body, feel your breath, and then you feel it's actually quite pleasant to do that. I think that is so important, and the question, I think for all of us, the most important question, it doesn't need to take time. It doesn't take too long. For instance, if you go into the bathroom, take a moment before you do something. If you go into the kitchen, you're going to put the kettle on, take a few seconds, or stand there while the kettle is boiling without having to do anything. So these are kind of ways where we can create little spaces of pausing and stopping and resting.